Hello Internet, hello YouTube, hello WhatCulture watcher. My name is Simon Miller and you have indeed tuned into Ups and Downs for Monday Night Raw, the show where we go through WWE's Monday programming. If something good, it gets an up and the finger goes up. And if something is bad, it gets a down and the finger, well actually, sometimes the finger goes up when I say down, but that just makes it all confusing. I'm engaging your brain, I'm making you smarter. No need to thank me, that's just what I do. Let's up some downs. What was that? Like I was grabbing a cat. There's no cat there. Do it. Raw started with Roman Reigns coming out in front of a very loud and a very angry Toronto crowd. And much as I said last week, because he got booed so badly, he does come across like a star. And I get excited to see what he's gonna do. Up. Said that he told Braun Strowman to come and challenge him at the very beginning of the show, and given that it was 8:05 p.m. and Raw started at 8 p.m, he assumed that Braun Strowman didn't actually want to accept his challenge. Now here's my problem with this, Roman Reigns. How impatient are you? If I was coming around your house to dinner and I was 5 minutes late and you ring me up going, "Where are you, Simon? The chicken's getting cold," I'd be like, "Calm down, Roman. I'm stuck in traffic. Do you not understand how life works? You've ruined our potentially lovely evening just because you couldn't handle, 5 minutes? 5 minutes? I mean, what even are you going to do in 5 minutes? Your entrance takes longer than 5 minutes, Roman. Shut up." Strowman felt the same, and after Roman had opened the floor to anybody else, Braun did come out. And he was still pissed at the Shield, as he should have been. They jumped him last week, and Roman's response to that was to say, "What you don't understand, Braun, is that the Shield are a brotherhood and we're workhorses." Nobody questioned your work ethic, Roman Reigns. Jeez, are you self-conscious? Anyway, then it was a standard back and forth between the two, and it was fine. Roman went on about the fact he's held all the belts. Strowman was like, "Yeah, well, I'm going to crush you like the little fly that you are." It ticked all the boxes. And it ended when Roman said, "Let's have a match right now." And Braun Strowman said, "No, we're not going to do that right now because your buddies are going to jump me again, but we will do it at Hell in the Cell." And he essentially cashed in his briefcase right there, or at least that's what I took from it. It'll be in the cell as well, so you can mark that on your calendars. And then because we have to progress this forward, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, they arrived on the scene. They cut. Well, it was quite a boring promo, to be honest. I didn't really get much out of it, and the fans shut up too, so that kind of summed it up. But anyway, later on, the main event is indeed going to be Drew and Dolph taking on Braun and Roman. You can just imagine where that's going to go. Or can you? Then Baron Corbin made this all official because he's the acting GM. And don't forget that he's the acting GM, as the commentators told us 48,000 times throughout the evening. And because he's acting GM, he also told Finn Balor to get his ass out here, because he's going to take him on in the match, because he's still mad about SummerSlam and being beaten by the Demon. Anyway, down. It was just what we'd seen 1,000 times before, although here, Baron Corbin hit Balor with a chair. He got DQ'd, but then he got on the mic and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the heel general manager," acting heel general manager, "and therefore I forgot to tell you because I've been so busy. This is a no DQ match." Then he just hit the end of days and he beat Finn Balor 1, 2, 3. This has got to mean the feud continues, and what is that about? It's almost like somebody backstage has convinced themselves that if WWE stops doing Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin matches, the space-time continuum as we know it is going to implode in on itself and the world will cease to be. That is not going to happen. Look how worked up I got. The short version of this is, please stop doing Corbin versus Finn Balor matches. Thanking you. A cool little promo for the Triple H Undertaker match happening at the Australian pay-per-view in a couple of months. Why WWE is pushing it so much now, I don't know, but this was good, and Booker T was there, and DDP was there, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was there, and we also found out that Shawn Michaels is going to be on Raw next week to talk about it, which kind of sucks, because it'd been funny, Shawn Michaels in Canada, always fun and games. Anyway, up. More teasing with Dana Brooke, Apollo Crews, and Titus O'Neil here, and while I guess it's nice we're doing something with them, this just isn't fun at all. Down. Basically, Apollo wanted Dana to have a tune-up match on Raw, so hopefully she can get a bigger bout at the pay-per-view known as Evolution, and that did happen, but unfortunately Titus had gone out there, and the opponent he'd found was Sasha Banks, and that's not what Apollo Crews wanted. He wanted to find some kind of tomato can, some jobber, and of course she fought Sasha Banks, and she lost. Apollo then comforted Dana, I don't know, you tell me, because that's all I got. I like Dean Ambrose. I like Dean Ambrose a lot, and I also don't mind Jinder Mahal. I think he's fine. But this segment between Jinder Mahal and Dean Ambrose, down. It was just weird, to be honest. Ambrose was there, and then Jinder Mahal arrived, and he tried to get Ambrose to calm down because he could sense all this anger. So Dean then closed his eyes and said he could envision smashing Jinder Mahal's face. So smartly, Mahal left. Alright. Just a roller coaster of emotions followed this though, so let's go through it bit by bit. It began with Seth Rollins coming out to say hello to Canada, and given that he'd found out that Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler were going to be tied up with other things this evening, he had a free dance card, his words, not mine, and he issued an open challenge. And you know who answered it? Kevin Owens up. This was awesome because as the hometown boy, Owens got a great reaction and he cut an even better promo when he said he was going to go down to that ring. He was going to take Seth Rollins' Intercontinental title. And then he went on. He knew his role. He knew he was meant to be the heel. And he said while it would be good to win in Toronto, it actually wouldn't, because it would be better if he won it in Montreal. He then spoke in French for a while. The crowd turned on him just like he wanted them to. Kevin Owens is the man. That then transitioned into the match, and as you can probably imagine, it was just great. There was a badass frog splash from Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens hit a stone cold stunner, and he got a mad ovation from the fans. Then, however, Rollins hit the curb stomp, and that was that. Down. I don't mind Seth getting a decent win on Raw, and if anything it helps him and it helps the Intercontinental title, but after everything Kevin Owens had been through at SummerSlam, I think he needed to come out of that pay-per-view and be put into a feud where he could actually look dominant. Here, he just got his ass beaten again. After a commercial too, we cut back to the ring, and Owens was sat there looking all forlorn and sad on a chair, and he just said, I quit. Now that could mean loads of things obviously, but from my brain, I kind of got the idea. Does that mean you're sending Kevin Owens back to SmackDown? Because if you do, that's a terrible plan, because then you're just ping-ponging him around like he doesn't matter. As we all know, Kevin Owens matters, or at least he matters to me. So I think we are getting to that point where we can all say Owens deserved better than this, but we'll wait and see. That's what we do here. We'll wait and see, because we just don't know. A down for a backstage promo between Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, who said exactly the same things as they had said at the start of the show, although this time it was ridiculously scripted and sounded like they were reading out some kind of kid's book. So yeah, down. And this was also a waste of my time, and don't waste my time, WWE. I've got a dinner date with Roman Reigns, as we know. I can't be late, otherwise the big dog will get really mad. Then the Revival beat the B team. Down. This is all about context to me because I like the B team, and given that they did get some momentum and they were getting some good fan reactions, we absolutely should have put the tag team titles on them. But if you are going to do that, don't then book them in like, I don't know what, 102,000 matches with the Revival, where here, the Revival just won as if the B team were nothing. What does that do for our tag team titles? After they did hit the Shatter Machine for the victory too, Dash and Dawson said they don't really care about Curtis Axel or Bo Dallas because they can take the belts whenever they want. Now, one, that's not true because you tried to take the belts at SummerSlam and you failed. And two, you crapping all over your opponent just mean when you beat them, you've beaten a pile of crap. And nobody wants to beat a pile of crap. Pile of crap is an inanimate object on the floor that comes usually from a dog's ass. How am I meant to respect you or think that you're dominant when that's all you could achieve? I don't know. This just feels lost to me. It feels like we've lost the plot and that we desperately need to insert more tag teams into this mix. A pretty entertaining segment with Elias followed, and at this stage I realised, maybe the former Drifter is never actually going to be a proper wrestler and he's just going to do these little segments till the end of time. I mean, I know he had that match against Kurt Hawkins last week, but before that, I've no idea. Up. Did his usual stuff, which is always fun, especially when he gets this kind of reaction from the crowd, and after he'd run down Toronto enough of all the people to interrupt, it was Trish Stratus. She's a hometown girl, and I tell you, she had some proper barbs for the bearded one, and the bearded one fired some proper barbs back, including telling her he doesn't date 60-year-olds. Stratus then slapped him. I tell you what, this was fun. I like this. It was fun. It worked with the location of where the WWE were. Made me happy. That then tied into a match between Alicia Fox and Natalya, while every single woman wrestler we've ever seen was ringside. But let's not worry about that, it was fine. Up. Natalya won as Ronda Rousey, Mickie James, Trish Stratus and Alexa Bliss all watched on, and we found out that at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it will indeed be Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss for that women's championship. We then jumped backstage where the Bella twins were, and they informed us that next week on Raw, they talked to Baron Corbin, and he said they can be in a match. So this is their comeback. But wait a minute. I saw SmackDown a few days ago and Brie Bella was on that. So what's the deal? What's the point? Is she a free agent? If she is a free agent, why has no one told me? Because you better either put her on Raw or you better put her on SmackDown WWE. She can't be on both because I can't handle Brie mode. That stupid thing that happens at the start of her entrance music twice. Once a week is bad enough, but twice, I will have to rip my own face off. Down. We had another segment with Baron Corbin after this was on the phone telling Stephanie that he'll 100% sort the Kevin Owens situation out. And then we had the surprise of the evening, which was Bobby Lashley coming into Baron Corbin's office and actually being really fun. Like genuinely, he was a hoot. up. Corbin was mad that Lashley had beaten him last week, so he said, you're going to have to go out to the ring right now and take someone on. And Bobby just patted him on the shoulder and went, look at you, being all that the general manager. I'm proud. It was genuinely entertaining. It was really fun. Go and watch it on YouTube. I bet you'll be shocked. Like, Lashley, he can do this. Which begs the question, why aren't WWE doing more with him? And that's where the next down comes from, because it was indeed a handicap match against the Ascension, and Lashley just beat them like they were a couple of fools. Down. And that just left us nowhere, because the Ascension, given what I said a few minutes ago, could have been rebooked and built up better to go back into the tag team division. And Lashley, after beating both of them, is in no better position, because we haven't seen Victor and Connor on TV for around about, you've guessed it, 72 years. So everybody here is in the exact same place they were before we did it, and you can take that and repeat it for Dean Ambrose and Jinder Mahal, which followed this, because Dean Ambrose just beat Jinder really easily, gets it down. And that brings us to our main event of the evening, and boy howdy is that a weird one. Let's get into it. It was of course Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre taking on Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, and after fighting courageously for 10 minutes, the Universal Champion tagged in the Money in the Bank winner, and he refused to get in the ring. Instead, he just watched as Drew and Dolph started to put the boots to the champion, and eventually that meant they got DQ'd. I think mostly the ref was like, what's going on? His partner won't get in here, so what do I do? But then it turned out it was all a ruse, and Braun Strowman was on the bad guy's side, so essentially, we just turned Strowman heel. Rollins and Ambrose, of course, ran down to try and even things out, but they all got laid waste to as well, and it ended with Braun Strowman holding up the hands of Drew McIntyre and holding up the hands of Dolph Ziggler. Now here's the thing, you can look at this two ways. The first is that it actually makes sense. If you were Braun Strowman and you knew you were about to go and cash in your Money in the Bank and then you got taken away from you because of three assholes known as the Shield, you'd probably go out there and get some backup. He'd already said throughout the evening he was pissed off at these guys, so you're not going to ignore that. However, you can also say that WWE are turning the guy that everybody wants to cheer heel just because they're desperate to try and protect Roman Reigns, their babyface, that nobody cheers. So that is an interesting situation to say the least, but it all comes down to what this means in the future. And we don't know, so given this in its little bubble, if I take it as a bubble that's coming towards my face, I give it down. And the reason for that is simple. Vince McMahon could have easily let this narrative play out and have the fans choose for themselves. Do you want to cheer Roman or do you want to cheer Braun? We're going to throw it out there and you follow your gut. But they didn't do that, and they're trying to now push Braun Strowman as a bad guy, even though that's kinda absolutely ridiculous. So a kind of average episode of Raw, but that's okay because I enjoyed myself all the same, and I'm gonna give my sometimes here, sometimes not MVP prize to Bobby Lashley, because I tell you, go watch the little promo he does. When he pats Baron Corbin on the shoulder, it is genuinely funny. I've said that once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it thrice, genuinely funny. Good for you, Bobby, and I really do hope eventually you get put in a feud that you can do something with rather than just float around. Ridiculous. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Like, share and subscribe, head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. There's an article up there called Ups and Downs. I don't write it, but someone else does, so you can get more opinion for your brain, and go follow WhatCulture at WhatCulture WWE on that there Twitter. My name is Simon Miller. You've been watching Ups and Downs for Raw, and if you don't know, I'm also going to up those downs for SmackDown tomorrow, and after that I'm going to go to All In, and I'm going to up some downs there as well. So if you're in and around the area, do come and say hello. Either way, and I'll speak to you soon. Get rid of that thrust arm thing. That's just weird. Nobody needed to see that.